I don't think people understand how powerful layering can be. Have you ever wondered how some tracks sound so full and massive? It's not just about having the best instruments or the most expensive software. There's a technique that many top producers use to achieve that rich, full sound. It's called layering. One of the key secrets is layering. Layering is the process of combining multiple sounds, instruments, or vocals to create a more complex and textured audio experience. By stacking different elements on top of each other, you can add depth and dimension to your music. Layering is a fundamental technique used by music producers to add depth, width, and richness to their music. It's like painting a picture with sound, where each layer adds a new color or texture to the overall composition. This technique can be used in various genres, from electronic music to orchestral scores. It involves combining multiple sounds, instruments, or vocals to create a more powerful and impactful sonic experience. For example, you might layer a piano with strings and a subtle synth pad to create a lush, cinematic sound. Or you might layer different drum samples to create a punchier, more dynamic beat. Layering can transform a simple melody into an epic soundscape. Imagine starting with a basic melody played on a single instrument. By adding layers of harmonies, counter melodies, and rhythmic elements, you can turn that simple melody into a rich, immersive experience. It can make a thin-sounding track sound huge and professional. This is especially important in genres like electronic music, where the quality of the production can make or break a track. By carefully layering different sounds, you can create a polished, professional sound that stands out from the crowd. Whether you're making electronic music, pop songs, or orchestral scores, layering is an essential tool in your production arsenal. It's a versatile technique that can be adapted to suit any style or genre. By experimenting with different combinations of sounds, you can discover new and exciting ways to enhance your music. In this essay, we'll demystify the concept of layering and equip you with the knowledge to use it effectively in your own productions. We'll break down the process step by step, showing you how to choose the right sounds, how to layer them effectively, and how to mix them together to create a cohesive and powerful track. We'll explore simple yet powerful techniques that will help you achieve professional-sounding results. From basic layering strategies to advanced techniques, we'll cover everything you need to know to take your music to the next level. Get ready to unlock a new level of depth and richness in your music. By mastering the art of layering, you'll be able to create tracks that are not only sonically impressive but also emotionally engaging. So let's dive in and start layering. Imagine baking a cake. You wouldn't just use flour, would you? You'd add sugar for sweetness, eggs for binding, and perhaps some vanilla for flavor. Layering in music production is similar. It's about combining different sounds that complement each other, just like ingredients in a recipe. Each layer adds its unique flavor and texture, resulting in a final product that's far more interesting and delicious than the sum of its parts. Instead of flour, eggs, and sugar, we use instruments, vocals, and sound effects. By carefully blending these elements, we create a rich tapestry of sound that captivates the listener. Layering works by creating the illusion of a bigger, wider soundstage. When multiple sounds occupy different frequency ranges and stereo positions, our ears perceive them as a cohesive whole that's larger than life. Think of a choir. Each singer has a unique voice, but when they sing together in harmony, the sound becomes incredibly powerful and moving. In music production, we can achieve a similar effect by layering different instruments that complement each other. For example, we can layer a deep bass line with a punchy kick drum, sparkling synths, and ethereal vocals to create a full and balanced mix. In the world of music production, certain elements are commonly layered to add depth and richness to tracks. This layering technique is a cornerstone of modern music production, allowing producers to craft intricate and dynamic soundscapes that captivate listeners. By carefully combining different sounds and textures, producers can create a sense of space and movement within a track, making it more engaging and immersive. These include drums. Layering kicks, snares, and hi-hats is fundamental for creating powerful and impactful drums. By layering different drum sounds, producers can achieve a fuller and more complex rhythm section. For example, combining a punchy kick with a deep sub-kick can add both impact and weight to the low end, while layering multiple snare samples can create a snare sound that is both crisp and rich in character. Bass. Combining different bass sounds, such as a sine wave sub-bass and a distorted mid-bass, can create a massive low end. This technique allows producers to craft bass lines that are both powerful and nuanced. providing a solid foundation for the rest of the track. By blending different bass textures, producers can add depth and complexity to the low frequencies, making the bass line more interesting and dynamic. Synths. Layering synths is a great way to create evolving textures, pads, and leads. By combining different synth sounds, producers can create rich and complex sonic landscapes that evolve over time. This technique is particularly effective for creating ambient and atmospheric elements, as well as for adding movement and interest to lead lines and melodies. Vocals. Layering lead vocals with harmonies and backing vocals adds depth and emotion. This technique can make a vocal performance sound more polished and professional, as well as more emotionally resonant. By carefully blending different vocal layers, producers can create a rich and textured vocal sound that enhances the overall impact of the track. These are just a few examples, and the possibilities for layering are virtually endless. From adding subtle background textures to creating complex and evolving soundscapes, layering is a powerful tool that can take your music to the next level. The key is to experiment and find combinations that sound good to your ears, and to always be open to new ideas and techniques. The key is to experiment and find combinations that sound good to your ears. Don't be afraid to try new things and push the boundaries of what is possible. With practice and creativity, you can develop your own unique sound and create music that truly stands out. Section 5. Simple layering techniques, EQ, panning, and detuning. Now that we understand the what and why of layering, let's explore some simple techniques to get you started. Layering is an essential skill in music production that can transform a good track into a great one. By carefully combining different sounds, you can create a rich, full mix that captivates listeners. In this section, we'll delve into 3 fundamental techniques: EQ, panning, and detuning. These methods will help you manage the frequency spectrum, stereo field, and tonal characteristics of your layers, ensuring each element of your mix shines through. EQ. Use EQ to carve out space in the frequency spectrum for each layer. Equalization, or EQ, is a powerful tool that allows you to adjust the balance of different frequency components in your audio. By boosting or cutting specific frequencies, you can make sure that each layer has its own space and doesn't interfere with others. For instance, you might boost the high frequencies of a lead vocal to make it stand out, while cutting the same frequencies in a background pad to avoid masking. For example, you might want to cut some low frequencies from a synth pad to prevent it from clashing with the bass. This technique is known as subtractive EQ and is particularly useful for creating a clean and uncluttered mix. By removing unnecessary low end from non-bass elements, you can give your bass instruments more room to breathe and ensure they remain powerful and defined. Panning. Panning allows you to position sounds in the stereo field. This technique is crucial for creating a sense of space and width in your mix. By placing different elements at various points in the stereo field, you can avoid overcrowding the center and give each sound its own distinct place. For example, you might pan a guitar slightly to the left and a keyboard to the right, creating a balanced and immersive listening experience. Try panning different layers slightly left or right to create a wider soundstage. Experiment with different panning positions to find the best placement for each element. Remember, subtle changes can make a big difference. Even a slight pan can help separate sounds and add depth to your mix. Additionally, automating panning movements can add dynamic interest and keep your mix engaging throughout the track. Detuning. Slightly detuning one layer against another can add subtle thickness and movement. This technique involves adjusting the pitch of one sound slightly up or down relative to another. Detuning can create a chorus-like effect, adding richness and complexity to your layers. It's particularly effective with synths, where even a small detune can make a big impact on the overall texture. This works particularly well with synths and vocals. When applied to vocal harmonies, detuning can create a lush, ensemble-like sound. Similarly, detuning different synth layers can result in a more vibrant and animated texture. Be careful not to overdo it though, as too much detuning can lead to a dissonant and chaotic mix. By using these techniques, you can ensure that each layer occupies its own space in the mix, resulting in a clear and powerful sound. Mastering EQ, panning, and detuning will give you greater control over your mix and help you achieve a professional, polished result. So, take the time to experiment with these methods and discover how they can enhance your music production process. Section 6. The pitfalls of overlayering. Don't muddle your mix. While layering can significantly enhance your music, it's important to avoid overdoing it. Too many layers can make your mix sound cluttered, muddy, and unprofessional. Remember, every layer should serve a purpose and contribute to the overall sound. If a layer isn't adding anything valuable, it's best to remove it. When layering, always listen carefully to your mix and make sure that every element can be heard clearly. Don't be afraid to experiment and find the sweet spot where your track sounds full and balanced without being overwhelming. Section 7. Layering in action. Building a synth lead. Let's look at a real-world example of layering in action. Imagine we're creating a synth lead for an electronic track. We could start with a simple sawtooth wave synth for the main melody. To add depth, we could layer a second synth with a square wave, slightly detuned, and panned slightly to the left. For extra texture, we could introduce a third layer with a white noise synth, high pass to emphasize the high frequencies. By layering these three simple synth sounds, we've created a much more interesting and full-bodied lead that will cut through the mix. Section 8. Experiment and evolve. Your unique layering journey. Layering is a skill that develops over time with practice and experimentation. Don't be afraid to try new things and break the rules. Listen to your favorite tracks and try to identify how the producers have used layering. Remember, there's no right or wrong way to layer sounds. The most important thing is to develop your own unique approach and find what works best for your music. Section 9. Conclusion: unleash the potential of layering. Layering is an incredibly powerful technique that can transform your music from simple to stunning. By combining different sounds, you can create depth, width, and richness that will captivate your listeners. Remember to use EQ, panning, and detuning to create space for each layer and avoid muddiness. Most importantly, experiment, have fun, and don't be afraid to push the boundaries of what's possible with layering. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Happy layering!